Have you ever struggled with English pronunciation? Do some words feel like tongue traps, twisting your mouth in ways that make no sense? Well, you're not alone. But don't worry. There's a fun and powerful way to fix this problem, and it's called tongue twisters. Yes, those tricky phrases you've probably heard before are not just a fun challenge. They are actually one of the best exercises for training your mouth, improving clarity, and mastering the sounds of English with ease. Imagine speaking English fluently, confidently, and without hesitation. Imagine never getting stuck on difficult words again. Sounds great, right? In this video, we're going to take you on a step-by-step journey to mastering English pronunciation using the most effective tongue twisters, pro tips, and fun exercises. It's not just about saying phrases quickly. It's about developing perfect pronunciation, fluency, and speaking skills that will make you sound like a natural. So, if you're ready to train your tongue, strengthen your speech muscles, and take your English to the next level, stay with us. This is going to be an exciting and interactive session, packed with techniques that will transform the way you speak. Get ready, because by the end of this video, you'll be pronouncing words like a pro. Let's begin. Part 1. Pronunciation is a very important part of learning English. Many learners struggle with saying words correctly. Sometimes, different words sound alike, and other times, the same letters make different sounds. This can be confusing for many people. One great way to improve pronunciation is by practicing tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are phrases or sentences that are difficult to say quickly. They help people improve their pronunciation, fluency, and clarity. They are fun to practice and can make speaking English easier over time. When you start with tongue twisters, it is best to go slowly. Many people try to say them fast right away, but this can lead to mistakes. It is okay to take your time at first. The goal is to say the words correctly before trying to say them faster. When you speak too fast, your tongue gets confused, and you make mistakes. If you start slow, your mouth gets used to the sounds. This helps in improving your speaking skills. With enough practice, you can start saying them faster and faster without making mistakes. A good way to begin is by focusing on simple tongue twisters. A famous one is, "She sells seashells by the seashore." This sentence is tricky because of the repeating S and shay sounds. When you say it, your tongue must move quickly between these sounds. If you are not used to it, you might say the wrong words or mix them up. First, say each word separately. Pay attention to how your mouth moves when you say she, then sells, then seashells. After that, try to say two words together like she sells. Slowly, try adding more words until you can say the whole sentence. This practice helps with accuracy. Once you feel confident, try to say it a little faster each time. Another fun tongue twister is, "Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers." This one focuses on the P sound. The challenge here is to clearly pronounce every P without skipping or mixing the words. To make it easier, break it down as before. Start with Peter Piper and say it a few times. Feel how your lips move when saying the P sound. Then, add the next part and keep going. Paying attention to how your lips and tongue move is important. This helps you understand how to control your mouth when speaking English. A different type of tongue twister focuses on th sounds. One example is, 3 thin thieves thought 1,000 thoughts. The difficulty in this sentence is the th sound, which many learners struggle with. In English, there are 2 types of th sounds. One is soft, like in the word thin. The other is stronger, like in the word this. Many people find it difficult to pronounce these correctly. When you practice, notice how your tongue moves. For the soft th in thin, your tongue should lightly touch your top teeth. For the stronger eth in this, you should press your tongue a little harder. Practicing these sounds in tongue twisters like this will improve your pronunciation. Practicing tongue twisters also helps with fluency. Fluency means speaking smoothly without stopping or hesitating too much. Many learners hesitate because they are unsure how to pronounce words. When you practice tongue twisters, you train your mouth to move quickly and correctly. Your brain gets used to forming words faster. Over time, this makes speaking English more natural. Another famous tongue twister is, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? This one focuses on the W sound, which can be tricky for some learners. The challenge is making sure each W sound is clear. If you say it too fast at first, your words might sound unclear. So again, start slowly. Say, how much wood a few times. Then say, would a woodchuck chuck? Once you can say these clearly, try the full sentence. This pattern of starting slow and building up speed helps in mastering pronunciation. One good way to practice is to record yourself. Sometimes when you speak, you might not notice small mistakes. When you listen to your own voice, you can hear if you are saying the words correctly. If something sounds wrong, try again and adjust. Comparing how you sound to a native speaker can also help. Listening carefully and imitating the correct pronunciation will improve your skills. Breathing is also important when practicing. When speaking fast, some people forget to breathe properly. This can cause them to lose control of their speech. When saying tongue twisters, try to take deep breaths before starting. This helps in maintaining good airflow while speaking. Proper breathing also makes sure that your voice sounds clear and strong. There are many different types of tongue twisters. Some focus on one sound, while others mix different sounds together. Practicing different types will help improve your pronunciation and speaking skills. The key is to have fun while practicing. When learning feels like a game, it becomes easier to improve. Part 2. Tongue twisters are not only useful for pronunciation, but also for improving how clearly and confidently you speak. Many people feel shy or nervous when speaking English, especially if it is not their first language. When you practice tongue twisters, you train your mouth and tongue to move smoothly. This helps in building confidence because the more you practice, the more fluent you become. One reason tongue twisters are helpful is that they push you to pronounce difficult sounds correctly. Some sounds in English do not exist in other languages. For example, the V and W sounds can be difficult for some learners. A great tongue twister for practicing this is, Vincent vowed vengeance very vehemently. The challenge here is switching between the V sound and other consonants. To practice, focus on how your lips move when you say the V sound. Your top teeth should lightly touch your lower lip. Make sure this is clear before moving to the next word. Practicing words like this slowly will help you gain control over difficult sounds. Another common problem learners face is switching between similar sounding words. The tongue twister, red lorry, yellow lorry, is an excellent example. The words red and yellow are easy to say on their own. But when you have to say them quickly in a row, it becomes challenging. The same goes for lorry. This is because your tongue has to shift positions quickly. When practicing this, focus on each word first. Then say red lorry and yellow lorry separately before putting them together. Over time, your tongue will get used to the fast movements required to say these words smoothly. Another great example is Irish wristwatch. The R and W sounds in this phrase can be tricky. Many learners mix these sounds up when speaking fast. Take time to pronounce Irish carefully, making sure the R sound is clear. Then say wristwatch slowly, making sure the W sound is strong. After repeating this separately, start saying the full phrase. As you practice, you will feel your tongue getting better at quickly switching between these sounds. Practicing tongue twisters helps with articulation. Articulation means how clearly you pronounce words. When you do not pronounce words properly, they can sound unclear to other people. This can make communication difficult. By practicing difficult words in tongue twisters, you get used to moving your mouth, tongue, and lips in the right way. Over time, you will find that even regular sentences in English become easier to say clearly. Some tongue twisters focus on words that seem similar but have small differences. A classic example is, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. The challenge in this sentence is saying I scream and ice cream correctly. Many learners may mix them up because they sound very similar. To practice, say each part slowly. First, say I scream and ice cream separately. Notice the difference in pauses between the words. When you feel comfortable, try saying the full sentence faster and faster. This will train you to be careful with pronunciation and to listen closely to small pronunciation differences. Some tongue twisters have many different vowel sounds in them. A good example is, Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. Here, the challenge is pronouncing bought, butter, and bitter correctly. The differences in vowel sounds can be confusing for some learners. To practice, slowly say each word. Notice the difference in how butter and bitter sound. The vowel sounds are not the same, even though the words look similar. Listening and repeating will help make these differences easier to understand. One fun way to practice is by turning tongue twisters into a challenge. You can set a timer and see how many times you can say a tongue twister correctly in a row. If you make a mistake, you can start again and try to break your record. This not only makes practice fun, but also helps improve speed and accuracy. Another technique is to focus on exaggerated pronunciation at first. When saying a tongue twister, make each sound very clear and slow. For example, if you practice Sally sells seashells by the seashore, try saying each word in an exaggerated way. Make the S and esh sounds extra strong. This helps your mouth get used to the correct movements. Once you feel confident, you can try saying it normally and then increase your speed. A great way to improve even more is to use a mirror while practicing. When you say tongue twisters, watch how your mouth moves. Notice how your lips, tongue, and jaw move when making different sounds. Many sounds in English require specific mouth movements. By watching yourself speak, you can correct mistakes and learn how to position your mouth better. Another tip is to practice with a partner. Saying tongue twisters together makes practice more fun and engaging. You can challenge each other by increasing speed or adding new difficult sentences. If one person makes a mistake, they can try again until they say the tongue twister correctly. Practicing with someone else also helps improve confidence when speaking out loud. Learning tongue twisters not only helps pronunciation, but also helps improve listening skills. When you listen to someone say a tongue twister, you have to focus on small details in pronunciation. By listening carefully, you train your ears to recognize different sounds more easily. This will help you understand fast English speech better. English has many variations in accents. Sometimes, tongue twisters may sound different depending on the accent. Listening to different speakers from different regions can help learners understand these variations. For example, the R sound is pronounced differently in American and British English. When practicing tongue twisters, learners can try different accents to become familiar with different styles of pronunciation. By practicing just a few minutes each day, learners can improve pronunciation quickly. The key is to keep practicing regularly. The more you repeat tongue twisters, the easier they become. Over time, this will help make everyday conversations in English much smoother. Part 3. Practicing tongue twisters is a great way to train your mouth muscles. Speaking a new language is like exercising. When you start, your mouth muscles are not used to making certain sounds. But with practice, they become stronger, and speaking becomes easier. This is why tongue twisters help. They push your tongue, lips, and jaw to move faster and more accurately. Over time, this makes pronouncing difficult words in English smoother and more natural. One common area where learners struggle is with letter combinations. In English, some letters change their sound depending on the word. For example, the letter C sounds different in cat and ceiling. A helpful tongue twister for practicing this is a big black bug bit a big black bear. In this sentence, you need to pronounce the hard B and G sounds clearly. When saying big black bug, your lips must move fast to say each word correctly. This helps with controlling lip movements, which is useful for other similar words in English. Another example is the tongue twister, crisp crusts crackle and crunch. This sentence might sound simple, but the challenge is switching between the crisp C sound and the strong R sound. Some learners struggle with the R sound because it requires rolling the tongue slightly. When practicing this, focus on saying each word clearly before saying the full phrase. First, say crisp on its own and notice how your mouth moves. Then, try crusts and feel the R sound in your mouth. As you get comfortable, speed up while making sure you say each part clearly. One type of sound learners often struggle with is the sh and che combination. These two sounds seem similar but require different tongue positions. A good tongue twister to practice these sounds is sheep should sleep in a shed. The difficulty comes from the repeating sh sounds. When saying sheep and sleep, your lips should push forward slightly for the esh sound. Practicing this helps with words that start with she or end with similar sounds. By training your mouth with tongue twisters like these, you will find it easier to pronounce words correctly in normal speech. For learners who struggle with nasal sounds, tongue twisters with M and N sounds are helpful. One example is, many mumbling mice are making midnight music. Saying this sentence properly requires moving between the M and N sounds quickly. Some learners may find this difficult at first, but practicing it slowly makes a big difference. Try holding each M sound slightly longer before moving to the next word. This helps your mouth get used to forming the correct vowel sounds between the consonants. Once you feel comfortable, try saying it faster without losing clarity. Vowel sounds are also difficult for many learners. English has many vowel sounds that change depending on the word. Some vowels are short, like in bit, while others are long, like in bite. A good exercise for mastering vowel sounds is the tongue twister, Eddie edited it. The challenge is making sure Eddie and edited sound different. Some learners might say them too fast and mix up the sounds. To practice, slow down and say Eddie first, then edited, making sure each vowel sound is clear. This helps with distinguishing short and long vowels in English, improving pronunciation. Another important thing to focus on is rhythm. In English, some words are stressed more than others. This is called sentence stress. Tongue twisters can help learners practice putting stress in the right places. A good example is, I thought a thought, but the thought I thought wasn't the thought I thought I thought. The challenge is not just pronunciation, but also rhythm. Some words need to be stressed more, while others are less important. Practicing tongue twisters like this can improve overall fluency and make spoken English sound more natural. Many learners also have trouble with words that start with the same letter, but require different tongue movements. A great example of this is, which wished, which wicked wish. Saying this sentence quickly forces your tongue to move between the W sound and the ch sound. It is important not to mix them up. If this is difficult, practice saying which first. Once it becomes easy, add the next words slowly. This gradual method helps in mastering difficult sounds step by step. One interesting way to practice is to use different emotions. Instead of just saying a tongue twister normally, try saying it with excitement, sadness, or even a dramatic tone. Changing emotions forces you to adjust your voice, which helps train vocal control. This also makes pronunciation practice more fun and engaging. Another common difficulty in English is the th sound. Some learners replace it with T or D because their native language does not have th. A good tongue twister to practice this is, the 33 thieves thought they thrilled the throne throughout Thursday. Here the focus is on saying the soft th correctly. When pronouncing 33, your tongue should lightly touch the top teeth and let the air pass naturally. If this is difficult, practice by just saying th a few times before adding words. Over time, this builds muscle memory, making the sound easier to say. A helpful method is to close your eyes, and imagine each word as you say it. Instead of just reading the sentence, visualize each object or action happening. For example, if practicing a proper copper coffee pot, imagine a shiny copper pot being filled with coffee. This technique helps learners focus on pronunciation while making learning more interesting. When you connect words with mental images, they become easier to remember. Repetition is key when practicing tongue twisters. The more you repeat them, the more natural they feel. Many learners start slow and then gradually increase their speed. Over time, this improves clarity, fluency, and confidence. Another tip is to mix different tongue twisters. Instead of practicing just one, try alternating between different ones. This challenges the brain and helps learners get used to switching between sounds quickly. One of the best ways to track progress is by recording your voice. Sometimes when speaking, you may not notice small mistakes, but when you listen to a recording, you can hear the areas that need improvement. Record yourself saying a tongue twister slowly, then listen to it. Compare it with a native speaker if possible. Each time you practice, try to improve your clarity and speed. Over time, you will notice significant growth in pronunciation and fluency. Tongue twisters are a great exercise, but they should be done consistently. Practicing 10 minutes a day can make a noticeable difference after a few weeks. People who practice regularly find that speaking English becomes easier in everyday conversations. Even difficult words and sentence structures start to feel more natural. The key is to have fun while practicing and enjoy the learning process. Part 4. One of the best things about tongue twisters is that they train different muscles in your mouth and help with coordination. English has many sounds that require the tongue, lips, and jaw to move in different ways. If your mouth is not used to these movements, pronunciation can feel difficult. But with enough practice, your mouth learns to move correctly and quickly without effort. This is why actors and public speakers often use tongue twisters to warm up their vocal cords. Even native English speakers use them to improve clarity and fluency. A great tongue twister that helps with coordination is Fred fed Ted bread and Ted fed Fred bread. In this sentence, the difficulty is switching between Fred and Ted while keeping the B sound in bread clear. Many learners mix up Fred and Ted when speaking fast because their tongue moves too quickly without enough control. A good way to practice is by first saying Fred slowly, then Ted, and then bread. Once you feel comfortable with the individual words, try saying them in pairs. Fred fed Ted and Ted fed Fred. Finally, say the complete sentence at a slow pace before increasing speed. This process helps train your mouth to say the words accurately even when speaking fast. Another useful tongue twister is a skunk sat on a stump and thunk the stump stunk, but the stump thunk the skunk stunk. This is challenging because of the repeating ST and SK sounds. Many learners struggle with the th sound in thunk and stunk because it requires a soft release of air from the tongue. To practice, first say stump stunk separately, then practice skunk sat. Pay attention to where your tongue is placed while saying thunk and stunk. Once each part is easy, put them together slowly. This tongue twister is great for improving tongue flexibility and making pronunciation smoother. When practicing tongue twisters, it is important to relax your mouth. Many beginners tense their jaw when trying to say difficult words quickly. When the mouth is tense, pronunciation becomes harder and words sound unclear. Instead, try to stay relaxed and let your tongue move naturally. If you feel tension in your mouth or face, take a deep breath and release it before trying again. You can also stretch your mouth slightly by opening your jaw and moving it side to side. This helps loosen the muscles, making tongue twisters easier to say. Some tongue twisters are great for practicing tricky vowel combinations. A useful one is, "I saw Susie sitting in a shoeshine shop." This one helps with the S and esh sounds while also improving control over vowel shifts. The main difficulty is moving from saw to Susie and from shoeshine to shop without getting stuck. To practice, start with "I saw Susie" and make sure your S is clear. Then try shoeshine shop slowly. Pay attention to how your tongue moves when switching between eshe and S. When ready, say the full sentence, first slowly, then faster each time. A common challenge for English learners is handling words with multiple syllables that sound similar. A good tongue twister for this is to sit in solemn silence in a dull, dark dock. The difficulty in this sentence is the repeating S and D sounds combined with different vowel lengths. Some learners may struggle with solemn silence because both words have a soft S but different vowel sounds. Start by saying solemn silence slowly, focusing on clear pronunciation. Then say dull, dark dock, and make sure each D sound is strong. Once these parts feel natural, say the sentence smoothly, increasing speed over time. One way to make tongue twister practice more effective is by using exaggerated speech. When you say a tongue twister, try exaggerating each sound, making it bigger and clearer than normal. This forces your mouth to practice full movements, ensuring correct pronunciation. For example, if practicing "Betty bought a bit of butter," stretch out each word. "Beatty bought a bit of butter." This makes it easier to feel the difference in sounds. After repeating it exaggeratedly a few times, try saying it at a normal speed. You will notice that pronunciation feels more natural and precise. Breathing also plays an important role when speaking English. If you do not control your breathing, long sentences or tongue twisters can become difficult. Some people run out of breath before finishing a sentence, causing their words to sound unclear. To improve this, practice taking a deep breath before starting a tongue twister. Let your breath out gradually as you speak instead of rushing. One good exercise for breathing is to say a tongue twister slowly while focusing on steady airflow. Controlled breathing makes speech sound more natural and helps with overall fluency. Another advanced tongue twister to try is 6 slippery snails slid slowly seaward. This one focuses on the repeated S and SL sounds, which many learners find tricky. The main challenge is keeping each S sound sharp without mixing it up with SL sounds. If this is difficult, start by saying 6 slippery snails separately from slid slowly seaward. Once both parts feel easy, combine them into a single sentence. Saying it slowly first ensures clarity, while increasing speed improves fluency. One creative way to practice is by turning tongue twisters into short stories. Instead of just saying a sentence quickly, imagine a small scene around it. For example, if practicing "How can a clam cram in a clean cream can?" think about a little clam trying to fit inside a can of cream. Visualizing these ideas makes practice more fun and helps with memorization. Adding small stories can also improve storytelling skills, making spoken English more engaging. Another challenge learners face is controlling their voice tone while speaking fast. Some people drop the last few words of a sentence, making them unclear. Practicing tongue twisters forces you to keep your tone steady from start to end. A good example for practicing this is, "The great Greek grape growers grow great Greek grapes." The repeating GR sound tests vocal control. Try saying each word separately first, focusing on a steady voice tone. Then, put them together at a slow pace. If your voice drops at the end, try again while keeping your voice strong until the last word. Consistency is the most important part of improving pronunciation. Practicing tongue twisters once or twice will not bring strong results, but repeating them daily for a few minutes can make a big difference in fluency, pronunciation, and confidence. It may feel difficult in the beginning, but over time, tongue movements will become more natural. The biggest improvement comes from making practice a habit. Learning pronunciation with tongue twisters is also a great way to track progress. At the start, some sentences may feel impossible to say fast, but after a few weeks of practice, you will notice how much smoother they become. This is a great motivation to keep going and to continue improving. Part 5. Tongue twisters are not just fun exercises, but also powerful tools for improving real-life communication. Many learners focus on pronunciation practice separately from daily conversation. However, the best way to make progress is to find ways to apply tongue twister practice in real situations. This helps develop both pronunciation and speaking confidence, making English easier to understand and use naturally. One of the best ways to use tongue twisters in real life is by incorporating them into warm-up exercises before important speaking situations. If you have a presentation, an interview, or a conversation in English, warming up with tongue twisters helps loosen up your tongue and make your speech clearer. Just like athletes stretch before a game, warming up with tongue twisters can make speaking smoother and more natural. An example of a good warm-up is starting with a slow and easy tongue twister, then gradually increasing speed. Try saying, "Unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York." This one is difficult because of the repeated "you" and "new" sounds. Saying it slowly first helps practice accuracy, while increasing speed tests fluency. This type of warm-up prepares your mouth and brain to speak English more smoothly in daily conversations. Another way to bring tongue twisters into real communication is by using them to overcome difficult sounds that cause pronunciation mistakes. If you have trouble with certain letters or syllables, pick a tongue twister that focuses on those sounds and practice it daily. For example, Many English learners struggle with the difference between V and W. Some languages do not separate these sounds, making them hard to pronounce correctly. A great tongue twister for this is, "We view blue violets very vividly." This forces the speaker to pronounce V and W sounds properly. When saying, "we view," focus on making W soft and round with the lips, while keeping V sharp with your teeth touching your lips. Practicing this regularly makes the difference between these sounds clearer, improving overall pronunciation. Another example is the English R sound, which can be difficult for some learners. A helpful tongue twister is, "A round rolling rock rolls rapidly." The main challenge here is pronouncing R clearly while keeping the sentence smooth. To improve, stretch out the R sound when saying "round rolling rock" to make sure it is pronounced fully. Over time, practicing this phrase helps make the R sound more natural in daily speech. It is also helpful to combine tongue twisters with listening exercises. Many people think practicing pronunciation is only about speaking, but listening plays an important role. If you can hear the differences between sounds, you will be able to imitate and practice them better. A great way to do this is by finding recordings of English speakers saying tongue twisters. Listen carefully and try to repeat them exactly as they sound. At first, it may feel difficult, but with practice, you will start hearing small details in pronunciation that will help improve your own. Another useful technique is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and speaking at the same time as the speaker. You can do this with tongue twisters by playing a recording, then trying to say the phrase at the same speed as the speaker. This helps with fluency, rhythm, and pronunciation. Even if you cannot say it perfectly right away, the more you practice, the better your speech becomes. Using tongue twisters with gestures can also help improve pronunciation. Movements help connect speech with muscle memory, making it easier to say difficult words without thinking too much. For example, if you are practicing, "How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?" you can act out throwing wood while saying "chuck wood." This makes practice more interactive and helps learners remember the rhythm of speech more effectively. For learners who struggle with fast English speech, tongue twisters are an excellent way to train for real-life conversations. Many people find it difficult to understand native speakers because they speak too quickly. Practicing tongue twisters helps the brain get used to processing words at a faster speed. Over time, this helps improve both speaking and listening skills. A common question learners have is how to reduce their accent when speaking English. Everyone has a natural way of speaking, but for those who want to sound more like a native speaker, tongue twisters are a great tool. Each language has different mouth movements, and tongue twisters help train the mouth to move in a way that matches English sounds more closely. If you struggle with a particular sound, find a tongue twister that focuses on it, and practice until your pronunciation improves. Another technique is to practice tongue twisters using different emotions and tones. For example, try saying "she sees cheese" in a happy voice, an angry voice, or a sad voice. Changing the emotion forces you to focus on clarity while adjusting your voice naturally. This helps with pronunciation and also improves overall expression when speaking English. Using tongue twisters in conversations with a friend or language partner is also useful. You can take turns challenging each other with different phrases and trying to say them clearly and quickly. This not only makes practice more fun, but also improves confidence when speaking in front of others. If you have a teacher or tutor, you can ask them to introduce new tongue twisters that help with difficult sounds in your speech. Recording progress is another great way to use tongue twisters effectively. When you first start practicing, record yourself saying a phrase slowly. After a few weeks, record yourself again at a faster speed. Comparing the recordings helps you hear improvement and motivates you to continue. It can also help identify sounds that still need more practice. Practicing in different environments is another way to make sure pronunciation skills are useful in real conversations. Try saying tongue twisters in a quiet room, then in a noisy setting, like a cafe or a park. Speaking clearly in different conditions helps build confidence and trains the brain to focus even in distracting situations. Another great way to bring tongue twisters into daily life is by using them as part of a morning routine. Just practicing for 5 minutes while getting ready for the day can make a big difference over time. Adding repetition each day strengthens the ability to pronounce words correctly without thinking too much. To make things more interesting, learners can turn pronunciation practice into a challenge. Try setting a timer and seeing how many tongue twisters you can say correctly in a row. Or try increasing speed while maintaining clear pronunciation. Making practice a game keeps it exciting and helps track progress. The goal of tongue twisters is not just to say sentences quickly, but to improve clarity, pronunciation, and fluency in English. By using them regularly, learners can make significant improvements in the way they speak and understand the language. Even small daily practice sessions can lead to big improvements over time. Part 6. Creating your own tongue twisters is a great way to practice pronunciation in a fun and personalized way. Many standard tongue twisters focus on certain sounds, but sometimes learners struggle with different combinations that are not covered in popular phrases. By making custom tongue twisters, you can focus on the exact sounds or words that are difficult for you. This makes practice more effective and improves pronunciation in areas that need the most attention. To create a tongue twister, start by identifying which sounds you find difficult. Some people struggle with R and L, while others have trouble with S and esh. Think about the sounds you mix up or find hard to pronounce clearly. Once you have identified these sounds, write a short sentence using words that repeat them multiple times. Keeping the sentence short at first makes it easier to focus on accuracy. For example, if you have trouble with S and esh sounds, you can create a sentence like, "Silly sheep share shiny shoes." This repetition helps train your mouth to move correctly between S and esh without confusion. If R and L are difficult, try "rolling red lollipops rest lightly." The combination of these sounds forces your tongue to position itself correctly for each word. When making a tongue twister, try to choose words that flow naturally. Tongue twisters work best when the words connect smoothly, but still challenge pronunciation. Using rhymes or similar sounding words can make custom tongue twisters even more effective. For example, if the th sound is difficult, you can create a phrase like, 33 thirsty thinkers thought 3 thrilling thoughts. This forces you to pronounce "that" sounds multiple times in different positions of the sentence. Another key to creating good tongue twisters is repetition. The best tongue twisters repeat sounds in different word positions. For example, words can start with the target sound, have it in the middle, and end with it. This variety helps improve pronunciation in different situations. Instead of just saying thick thumb, try adding more words like, the thick thumb thrives through Thursday. This forces your mouth to get used to the sound in different placements. Playing with rhythm is also helpful when making tongue twisters. Some tongue twisters have a natural beat that makes them easier to say. Adding a rhythm helps with fluency and encourages smooth pronunciation. Try saying your custom tongue twisters slowly at first while tapping a beat, then gradually increase speed while keeping clarity. Once you create a few tongue twisters, practice them regularly. Start by saying them at a slow pace, making sure each sound is clear. Then, gradually increase speed while maintaining accuracy. If you make mistakes, slow down and correct your pronunciation before trying again faster. Over time, the mouth muscles will adapt, and pronunciation will become more natural. Another useful exercise is to create tongue twisters based on real-life situations. For example, if you work in customer service and have trouble with certain words, create a tongue twister using those words to practice. If you are studying for an exam and struggle with pronouncing technical terms, turn them into a tongue twister to get comfortable saying them. This method makes pronunciation practice directly useful for daily life. You can also challenge yourself by creating tongue twisters that include minimal pairs. Minimal pairs are words that sound very similar but have one small difference in pronunciation. For example, ship and sheep, or bet and bat. A tongue twister like sheep sit in ships by the shore forces attention on the vowel differences between ship and sheep. Practicing these helps improve listening and speaking accuracy. If creating tongue twisters from scratch seems difficult, you can modify existing ones. Take a well-known tongue twister and change a few words to focus on the sounds you want to practice. For example, modifying "she sells seashells by the seashore" into "Sam sells sandwiches by the subway" keeps the S repetition, but in a personalized way. You can also use tongue twisters to practice specific words that you find difficult. If you struggle with words like world or rural, create a sentence that repeats them naturally, like, "The rural world whirls with wonder." Practicing difficult words in a pattern helps improve pronunciation gradually. One fun way to practice custom tongue twisters is by turning them into a game. Write different tongue twisters on pieces of paper and pick one at random to say as fast as possible without making a mistake. You can also compete with a friend to see who can say it clearly the fastest. Adding a playful element encourages better learning and keeps motivation high. Recording your custom tongue twisters and listening to the playback is another helpful technique. Sometimes mistakes are not noticeable while speaking, but they become clear when listening to a recording. Play back your voice and compare your pronunciation to a native speaker. If certain parts sound unclear, focus on improving those areas. If you enjoy writing, you can create short tongue twister poems or stories. For example, a story about a pizza shop could include, "Penny's perfect pizza pleases playful parrots." Making full sentences that tell a story adds fun to pronunciation practice while improving fluency. You can also try singing or rapping your tongue twisters. Singing helps with tone and rhythm, while rapping trains speed and clarity. Choose a simple melody and sing a tongue twister with it. This technique helps you stay on beat while improving pronunciation. Using tongue twisters creatively helps make pronunciation practice enjoyable and effective. The key is to repeat them frequently while challenging yourself with speed and accuracy. Over time, this will strengthen pronunciation skills and improve overall English fluency.